wonderful to be a part of this webinar today. Lots of information and a lot of mind enriching topics that is related to my research as well as for improving my vocabulary on various topics. And my today's topic of presentation is depression and autism spectrum disorder. A little bit about autism, though it has been discussed quite a lot now, but a bit about it now. So it's a complex neurodevelopmental disorder and it causes problem with thinking, feeling, language, and the ability to relate to others. Uh, Next, a little bit about the diagnostic features. From the DSM-5, the diagnostic criteria of ASD include persistent deficits in social communication, social interaction, and which involves social emotional reciprocity deficit, as well as the communication, both the verbal and the non-verbal, and deficits in developing and understanding relationships. For example, difficulties in adjusting to different social contexts. It also includes restricted repetitive patterns of behavior, the stereotypic and the repetitive motor movements, the insistence on sameness, uh, inflexible to routines, as well as hyper and hyporeactivity to sensory inputs. Over here, one thing is being mentioned regarding the triad of impairments. If we can consider the triad of impairments in a triangular form, having the three edges, in one edge, we can say that there is lack of flexibility. Another edge, we can say lack of socialization. And the third one, it's the lack of communication. So, in the diagram here, over here also there's a relationship between the communication and the inflexible uh, pattern of their the social relationships, including the sensory problems that they face. So going to the next slide, a little bit about the autism prevalence. There's a graphical representation from the year 2004 to the present year 2020. And the first one in 2004, it was estimated 1 in 166 individuals, where presently in 2020, it is being depicted as, or rather estimated as, 1 in 54 individuals. So the data is being collected from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and it's the latest graphical representation that we have. Going to the next slide. Today, the topic that I'm going to be sharing with you all is depression and ASD in comorbid conditions. So what is a comorbidity? Over here, there are two circles, and the common area between the two circles where there is one disorder with another. So in this case, depression and ASD, if we think these two circles to be together, the common area, that is the comorbid area, which is the depression and autism spectrum disorder. Now, regarding depression, as per the DSM-5, the diagnostic criteria is being discussed here. Over here, 5 or more symptoms which are being addressed here during the same 2-week period, and at least one of the symptoms should be either depressed mood or loss of interest or pleasure. And the various symptoms which are included here involve depressed mood, markedly diminished interest or pleasure, significant weight loss, a slowing down of thought and a reduction of physical movement, fatigue, feelings of worthlessness, diminished ability to think or concentrate, and recurrent thoughts of death, recurrent suicidal ideation. Now, regarding the challenges in diagnosis in case of this comorbid condition, over here, as the children, if I rather address the children first, uh, with autism, there is a lack of facial expression as well as speech, which I told earlier when I had told about the diagnostic criteria as well as the triad of impairments, that they have got lack in communication skills. Due to that, it invariably affects the lack of facial expressions. Uh, Most of them have difficulty in communication and communicate with the help of communication boards. Even the emotions are expressed with emoticons. And as because they cannot express their thoughts, their feelings, it is very difficult to diagnose depression in someone with autism. And also there lies overlapping symptoms, which may be a result of autism as well. So the diagnosis becomes somewhat difficult when it is in a comorbid condition. In the recent studies, here two things that I have mentioned. One is the suicidal tendencies. The percentage of children rated by their parents as sometimes or very often contemplating or attempting suicide was 28 times greater for those with autism than those with typical development. It was 3 times less among those with autism than among the non-autistic children who had depression. And the second one is 20% of young people with ASD were diagnosed with depression in a recent study. The findings also showed that individuals with autism who were higher functioning and free of intellectual disabilities were at greater risk of depression than those with with more severe forms of the disorder. So the knowledge that one is different and the problems that the individuals with autism face relating with social exclusion, bullying, isolation, and navigating day-to-day life environments, they all seem to be the contributing factors for this. Going to the next slide, the common symptoms include feeling of hopelessness, physical symptoms such as always feeling tired, causes an increase in behaviors associated with autism like obsessive behaviors. Uh, One example of obsessive behavior, if I may mention, with children with autism, it's stimming, like a string or a piece of thread. They continuously move it for their visual sensory inputs. So this is another kind of obsessive behavior. Stereotype behavior such as body rocking. Some children have a stereotype behavior of moving back and forth, which is the body rocking. Some have hand flapping, like flapping their fingers and hands. So these all are related with their sensory stimulations. Social withdrawals, they tend to be in their own world. So they kind of retrieve, they try to interact with the people, but in their own way. But uh, in case of a crowded place, we can call it a social withdrawal because they get tempted with a lot of sensory inputs throughout the place. Aggressive behavior, self-injurious behavior, self-hitting, or if I can elaborate on self-hitting, it doesn't mean that they do it just for the sake of making their it's not actually making their point clear, or whatever they want it, otherwise they will injure themselves, not for that, but they may be in a very uh, deprived condition and they cannot express themselves, though for that they tend to this self-injurious behavior. And of course the last one, the sleep disturbance, which is very common in children with autism and also in the comorbid condition. Now about the depression types, there is the major depression, the persistent depressive disorder, bipolar disorder, seasonal affective disorder, which is in short, which is called SAD, psychotic depression, peripartum, postpartum depression, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, dysthymia, situational depression, and atypical depression. Now, what are the causes of depression? First one, the biochemical causes. If I can say about the neurotransmitter serotonin, the low level of the neurotransmitter, it also is one of the major biochemical causes which has been seen in the medical study. So why there is a low level of serotonin, or even in that case dopamine, the neurotransmitter which is also related with depression. Uh, it is the neurotransmitter serotonin is involved in regulating many important physiological functions, including sleep, aggression, eating, sexual behavior, and mood. And current research suggests that a decrease in the production of serotonin by these neurons can cause depression in some people, and more specifically, a mood state that can cause some people to feel suicidal. Next, about the dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter, it is also linked with depression. Low dopamine levels may in part explain why depressed people don't derive the same sense of pleasure out of activities or people that they did before becoming depressed. And the third one, the neurotransmitter norepinephrine in certain areas of the brain created depressed mood as per the medical study. Next cause would be abuse in different levels and in different forms, certain medications, conflicts, death or loss, which is setting a trauma in the minds. Genetical part is, of course, there, major events in life, and serious illnesses. Now, the next slide, the treatment of depression. In short, without being comorbid and with being comorbid, it's like a comprehensive treatment, setting a routine for a day, exercises, healthy diet, enough sleep, and very importantly, challenging negative thoughts. Daily responsibilities, pharmacotherapy, talk therapy, CBT, these are the common ones, and being comorbid with ASD, group activities and peer tutoring. That also helps uh, in the comorbid as well as the people with depression. Next, my research study is presently, it is related with the autism, uh, actually the picture of autism in India, and more specifically the experiences of parents who have children in the autism spectrum during the transitional phases. A little bit about autism in India. It affects around 3 million people in the Indian subcontinent. Initially, there was the CARS, which is the Childhood Autism Rating Scale for the diagnosis of autism. Now, very recently, the Indian scale for assessment of autism has it's been formulated, which in short it is called ESA, which diagnoses children with autism, and also scores are being given as per the severity. And disability legislation in India, that has also been improved over time. My specific research, which I'm doing presently, it's on educational transitions and schooling of children with autism, which is still now an unexplored territory in India. Children on the autism spectrum in urban India, the parent-driven autism movement in India, it has made considerable strides since the 1990s and has played a central role in advocacy, raising awareness, rehabilitation, education, and training. But the majority of the studies have been in the field of medicine and psychology. In the year 2005, two studies I have mentioned here. One is of Narayan et al. He identified settings in which education of children with autism takes place and the feasibility of replicating these school models. Another one, Lal et al. In 2007, investigated how visual strategy training influenced the development of communication skills, mostly with PECS, the picture exchange communication systems, more specifically, the alternative and augmentative communication. Now, coming back to the perspective of the parents, the challenges for the families and coping mechanisms in India, the increased responsibility and social stigma, it affects the psychological and emotional well-being of parents and generate interpersonal conflict. Lack of access to appropriate services, financial constraints, and societal attitudes towards disability. So overall, if I can say about the challenges, uh, being in a responsible position of taking care of your child and also involving the child in a socially acceptable way with the therapies and the interventions, it's really hard for the parents. But with a positive feeling and the one thing that I told earlier, challenging the negative thoughts and like you are going ahead feeling positive and of course undermining depression, then this really improves the situation. And in case of India, there is a increase in awareness and an increase in positive thoughts. I have collected the data, and it also uh, indicates this thing that what I have told regarding the increased awareness as well as the increased positive thoughts in comparison to the previous years. And as I told earlier, my research is to explore parents' experiences and views, and also to enable parents to reflect on the transition process. Like, how was the process? Was it positive? Was it negative? How was the support? So, mostly gathering their experiences and their views. Um, Now, the data that I have collected, it's been a very enriching experience for me in a lot of ways. Uh, Taking interviews of parents, getting their thoughts, sometimes spoken in words, sometimes just the emotions. But yes, the feeling was overall positive. The parents of India have progressed from thinking that it's a medical condition. What will happen after we are not there? After we are like uh, till we are alive, we are taking care of the child. After us, what will happen? From that perspective, now they have come to uh, that thinking that yes, at least if the child can do his self-help skills, that he can have an independent living, that is also a very positive thing for us. So it's been wonderful to hear their experiences and collecting the data till now. And coming back to today's topic, depression, child's as well as parents' perspective. So in case of child, as I've told earlier, overlapping symptoms in the comorbid conditions, both in verbal and non-verbal children, and it's difficult to diagnose as because the symptoms are very overlapping and very similar. And it may appear that the symptoms have merged out from uh, the features of autism, not actually depression. So it's difficult, but yes, we cannot say that it cannot be diagnosed. And from the perspective of the parents, the depression, it is evident in conversations. Yes, raising a child belonging to the spectrum, as I told, it's hard for the parents, as well as it's a very new thing for the parents. Those who don't have this kind of condition in their family, or those who have not come across individuals with autism earlier, it's difficult to understand the condition. And also being at par with the therapies and the interventions, learning them, and you are like your children are getting the therapies, you are learning yourself. So it takes a lot of hard work. But there is depression, and yes, depression can be overcome as well. And also the depression which I could feel evident in conversation, as also in the emotional aspect which I told earlier, some spoken and some unspoken,